A warm welcome to you all joining us on the breakfast table alive this morning. I am Tante Azal and Mariam Oke is with me in the studio. Mariam, you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning to everyone watching us this morning.
Of course, and we are going straight to the paper review now.
This morning.
And we'll be starting with News Direct. And on the window story, we have lawmaker deserve it because of maintenance bad roads. That is the 160 million SUV, and that is coming from the Senate. And that you will see on page 12. And we have NCDMB leads other MDAs in efficiency transparency report, and that you will see on page 2. And when you go to page 12, you see Oyetola target 2448 as cargo clearance at port, and I've said that will be on page 12. And then the bold headline here says Senate to probe 11.35 trillion naira spent on repairs in 13 years, and that is on page 3. And on page 2, you will see Sanwo-Olu Commission's vehicle assembly plant in Lagos as first 2,000 cars hit market. And on page 21, you see Nigeria now home for investment of tech startups, minister says. And on page 3, you will see facts plead 903.4 billion naira between federal government and state and local government. And that is all we have on News Direct. Miriam, what do we have on
Yes, on the Guardian newspaper this morning, I have insecurity defies 261 NAS motions, 20 legislations, and 12 trillion naira in 16 years. I have also 71,444 naira lives. Sorry, I was talking about money actually. 49 people has died, and it has been reported that their lives has been claimed nationwide in 16 years. I have also from the National Assembly passed 261 resolutions, 20 legislative bills, appropriated over 12 trillion naira to tackle insurgency and insecurity. Off-season polls, court judgments impeding preparations, INEC lament, and that's on the news page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Corporate Affairs Commission uncovers 189 fake companies, and that's on the page 3. Also, the electoral system and danger of over litigation, that's on the page 12. Senate reopens probe of 11.35 trillion naira TAM cost and 1.6 trillion naira loss on refineries. Despite 6.5 trillion naira spent on education in 7 years, federal government laments poor performance. That's also on the page 3. I have also Lagos doctors bags life imprisonment for defiling wife's niece. Troops neutralize 9 ISWAP terrorists, arrest logistics suppliers in Borno, and that's on the page 28 of the newspaper this morning.
Of course, and unfortunately, this is all we can take on the paper review. We'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be having a guest with us that will be joining us via Zoom. Stay with us.
TV.
Taking a look at events in Nigeria. And now the news in detail.
Look at the number of people he has built.
He has the capacity. And today, a historical reoccurrence is taking place right here in Jos.
You need to be involved in the voting process. Your vote counts.
Government, in spite of its lean resources, is running a welfare program for the most vulnerable in our country. We've never had that before. Welcome back. Nigeria should be competing with countries like
I am Kanti Azar.
Alive News, keeping it fresh.
On Alive TV.
Taking a look at events in Nigeria. And now the news in detail.
Look at the number of people he has built.
He has the capacity. And today, a historical reoccurrence is taking place right here in Jos.
You need to be involved in the voting process. Your vote counts.
government, in spite of its lean resources, is running a welfare program for the most vulnerable in our country. We've never had that before. Welcome back. Nigeria should be competing with countries like
I am Kanti Azar.
Alive News, keeping it fresh.
Recall the Academic Staff Union of Universities has expressed concerns over the non-release of almost 8 months' salaries of university academics withheld on account of its 2022 strike action. According to a statement signed by the ASU President Emmanuel Osedeke, as one of the many issues affecting the Nigerian university system as discussed by the union during its National Executive Council meeting at the University of Maiduguri, Borno State from 19 to 20 August 2023. Now, President Bola Tinubu has approved the partial waiver of the no work, no pay order instituted against striking members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. A statement signed by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Gilali, revealed that the waiver will allow for the previously striking members of ASU to receive 4 months of salary accruals out of the 8 months of salary which was withheld during the 8 months industrial action undertaken by the union. Well, joining us in the studio to have this discussion is Professor Adedeji. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And
Happy to be here.
thank you for joining us, sir. And some have said labor unions like Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, universities, Academic Staff Union of Universities, and others have been known for embarking on strike without considering other options as the way to show their grievances. Why is this so? Can you get us up?
I can hear you now, but I wasn't hearing you before.
Okay, what is there a possible way, for academic union to show their grievances aside strike?
Well, usually before every strike action, there are always meetings. And you will all recall that each of those meetings are usually for negotiation. That will call a roundtable discussion. Now, so basically, if at the time ASU had called for meetings and all the meetings had been fruitless, now they'll have no other choice than to go on a strike, because strike seems to be the only language that Nigerian government understands. That's the way I see it. NLC, TUC have been threatening that they were going to go on strike, and each time the federal government had begged them. Now, if they did not call for a strike, there would have been no need for them to be begged. So for me, I think it's the only language that the government here understands. And strike is supposed to be the last resort in a negotiation.
Okay. All right. Many are of the view that incessant strikes by lecturers have negatively affected the standard of education in public universities in Nigeria. Do you agree with that?
No, I will agree with that. I'll say more than that, because if I work and I do not get a value for all of my effort, then I will have to reduce the effort that I put into the job. And I'm sure that if we are not getting paid as much as we deserve, then we are not likely to give the best to the educational system. We all know that recently a lot of lecturers have been moving out of the country. Because we know that there are lots of things over there. The pay is better, the work environment is better, there are lots more opportunities, and we also know that over there, promotion is better. It takes longer time for us to get promoted here, and if I have a place that is offering me more in a better environment, I would rather opt for that than to stay in a country where all of my efforts are not appreciated.
Well, and another thing is the federal government has said it would grant universities full autonomy in the area of funding. How well do you think this would impact the sector?
Autonomy. You see, we have to define the autonomy very well. If you tell them that they are going to be autonomous, and of course it implies that the university must raise its own salary. Wow. That will require a lot from the university. A lot. And most universities may not be able to pay their staff. Now, I am not talking for private universities that are businesses. I'm talking for government-owned universities. They cannot afford to pay the salaries of the staff because Nigeria already has the impression that education should be free. If not free, then it shouldn't be that expensive. So if you want them to be autonomous, then you should expect that the school fees will also be increased. You know what is happening at the University of Lagos right now, when it was announced that the school fees will become 190,000. Now imagine some state universities opting for such amounts of money, they are going to lose staff. They are also going to lose students. And then the situation will get worse. The situation will get worse because they cannot afford the salaries of their staff, which means that the vice chancellors will have to go around, keep looking for how to make money in order to pay salaries. And then university education is not all about salaries. There are a lot more. You need to have some things in place that can allow your students to compete very well with other universities across the world.
All right.
So it's not going to be easy for them. I would say it's going to be impossible because every time they will have the government is saying that we'll pay salary, do every other thing. I think that will work.
All right.
Of course, it will also give the room for the management of the university to also become corrupt. But that can be managed. That can be managed.
All right.
So, sir, can you hear me, sir? Sir, you said despite
Yeah.
sir?
You can go on.
Okay. You said despite the promise from the federal government to give the tertiary institutions specifically autonomy, this morning from the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have it that the federal government is lamenting poor performance, from the education sector rather, that they have invested 6.5 trillion naira has gone into this sector in 7 years. And what I can deduce from what you said is that even with the autonomy, the sector will still not thrive if parents are not willing to pay or concur to the increment in the school fees of the students. So what would you say to this very point of 6.5 trillion naira as said by the federal government? Is it that something is wrong somewhere, or are we facing, is the sector faced with some kind of challenges like diversion of funds or what? Or what would you have to say as regards to that, sir?
I would have answered that question better if I were a management of the university.
Okay.
But what I do know about the government of Nigeria is that maybe government everywhere is that we give ourselves the impression that things are working, but we know that things are not working. Now, the government has reported that so far it has spent trillions of naira. Now, are we sure that the trillions of naira got to the university? Are we sure that the trillions went through the proper channel? We are not sure of many things. But then the impression that we all have is that money has been given or spent on the tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Now, we all know that, well, State Fund, to a very large extent, has been trying to equip the universities so that they can be independent up to a level, and that is why they encourage tertiary institutions to run some businesses. I know of some universities that have water production. I know universities that are involved in bakery. I know universities that are involved in farming. But then, I also do know that most of these universities go the extra mile to ensure that they sustain these businesses. Now, universities are best if they run businesses that are directly connected to the programs that they run in the university. For example, I have a Department of Agriculture where I am supposed to train students to become experts in agriculture. agriculture. Now, if I run that business while in school, it gives the student the opportunity to have practical experience of agriculture,
Okay.
which means while in school, they would have had certain level of exposure, and it might be good enough for them to run their own business. So they would have experienced risk, they would have experienced a lot of other innovations, and then while in training, they would have also come up with some idea that will be more viable at a later time. Now, with that, they become better students or better agriculturalists. Because when they come out of the university, they have not just the book, they are also equipped with the practical knowledge of the practice of that course. Now, if you now tell them to engage in businesses that have no direct relationship with what they do, then you are telling them to take risk. And when they take risk, they may also fail.
Okay, lastly,
I
sir.
know of a university where they run a business where on a monthly basis, all they make from that business is a total of 20,000 naira. After removing all that have been invested into that business. Do you call that a viable business? Which salary can 20,000 naira pay? Maybe just a security man. Maybe. And I'm sure it's going to be a private security man, not the employed security man.
Well, sir, lastly, there have been issues of mismanagement of funds released by TED Fund in the past, as well the irregularities in project delivery. What do you think the Tinubu-led government can do to ensure that the agency effectively serves its mandate devoid of such issues?
Okay. There is something that the government has failed to do. When you release money for a project, a research, a patent, anything, it is important for you to also incorporate what we call monitoring and evaluation. If you set different times for the monitoring of the progress of this project, and you ask for results at a regular interval, then they will know that if I got a fund for a research at this particular time, in the next 6 months, I am expected to report a stage, a written report. Now, if it is a patent, then I know that at this point in time, some individuals are going to come to see what I have done or how far I have gone. Because every project has a timeline. If you submit an application for a project, a second project, you must also submit the timeline. Therefore, the timeline should enforce the timeline. They should ensure that at every point in time, individuals come out to assess how far they have gone on the project. If we are aware of this, we'll sit tighter, and then we'll ensure that we deliver as expected. You see, we are in a country where we have what is called the culture of excuses. And then we can lie. Everything government, we have our fault. But if you have all of these things structured the way you have written them, and you stick to them, then everybody will sit tighter. That's the way I say it. The government on their part should ensure that that stage for monitoring for an evaluation is not just a paper, it is action. You have actions stated there, and they should ensure that they follow the timeline as submitted on the project. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. That was Professor Adedeji, and you have heard it, and it is actually,
Hello?
yeah, that is all we have to do with you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Can you hear me, sir? And well, that was the conversation, and it is actually good we talk about our educational sector.
Of course,
and
yes.
You have said it. We have seen it on the newspaper this morning on how the government is lamenting that they have done so much in the educational sector and they are seeing no result. And we keep asking, he mentioned something, always we keep saying the government. We, the people, are we doing the right thing? All the funds, because that fund has said, the government has said there was a fund given by the TED fund, to the educational sector, and still, nothing happened. And already it has been happening. There has been complaints about how the educational sector is not growing, and that was why TED Fund came to existence.
Yes.
For them to be able to fund the educational sector. But still, TED Fund is saying they have been giving monies out. What is happening to the monies that we've been giving out, for the tertiary institution, especially to thrive in this country? But we are seeing insecurity, we are seeing misappropriation of funds, we have seen diversion of funds, and all those challenges.
I think I go with your points number 2 and 3, mismanagement of fund, because when we say insecurity, like, how has insecurity, fine, insecurity as eating
one of the challenges
into our system here in Nigeria, but then I don't think the ASU, SANO should be affected. Well, the reason why I said that is because people want to attach to anything negative. They want to, when they make a mistake, they want to come back to the fact that, okay, this mistake actually is bettered from this so negative occurrence. So why insecurity in this kind of situation? Why not let us, flog the fact that we have diversion of fund, mismanagement of funds? And he made mention of something. He said he is always willing to, from every business of the institution, to at least teach the students or let them gain something from it. Let me quickly take you through what I call I have something I checked this morning as regards higher education and skills development in Nigeria, and that brings us to the overview of Nigerian national policy on education. It seems these all things that we are experiencing today is because people at the ends of affair, people at the governing council of this board are not putting into action what has been written in the constitution that guards this educational sector. And that brings me to the section, the NPE, FRN as edited in 2004, and because this is still what they use, and it lists 7 goals of the Nigerian educational sector of higher education, tertiary institution. So I don't know what is happening while we are experiencing recurrence of strike, continuous strike. Number 1 point is that's under section 8, number 54 of the Constitution, and I have it as to contribute to national development through high-level relevant manpower training. Where is the training? Okay, let's not say the federal government is lying. Let's not say the federal government is saying the truth. Let's just be neutral. How about the funds they have been realizing all this while? How about the personal payment from students? I remember then in our undergraduate days, after you might have paid for whatever in school, you still come back to pay for one departmental stuff, one so stuff, one so. You keep paying and paying and paying. So where is the money going to? And at the end of the day, you just realize that you go to school without being properly equipped. we only have this thing called the liberal education. We do the theoretical aspect of education, leaving out the vocational, technical, and other forms of entrepreneurship. And this thing is killing the Nigerian labor market because nobody is going to hire someone without a skill. This time around, I'm not talking about you learning fashion designer from fashion designing rather from someone outside the four walls of the school. I'm talking about why not have something or a particular course that gives a detailed education on that very course. We can have it here in Nigeria. There are practices outside Nigeria. So why not have it? And at the end of the day, the ASO people now still go back to government is not paying us. They have not done this. Why not settle things diplomatically? Why not settle out of courts and stop affecting the Nigerian student? Because this is really bringing about number one, high crime rates. Number two, people are not really, fulfilling their personal goals. Because for someone who has gone to school 4 years, he has in his, brain that within 4 years, I'm going to go to school, do this, do that, and after then I go for my NYC, probably start a business, probably I want to go, abroad, probably I want to do this, marry, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, you get to see that the life of that person, the well-planned life, is disrupted kind of.
Of course, you said well-planned life, and I'm like, how well it is when at the end, it's not going to be achieved exactly the way it's supposed to be achieved.
Yes.
And to be honest, you mentioned it, and the strike, it is actually affecting, it is really, really affecting the growth of education in Nigeria.
The growth of education,
Yes,
and please put also the growth of the individual involved, because from that also I have another point that says the basic reason for the creation of the higher education system in Nigeria is to develop and inculcate proper values for the survival of the individual and society. So this actually explains that when they were writing this, they had the Nigerian students, in mind. But what is happening now? Why is everybody about me, faulting the federal government and all?
That is why they also asked, there's a question that is always been asked.
Okay.
Is the educational sector being politically influenced? Talking about, bad leadership, talking about the misappropriation of funds that we've been talking about, corruption. We have many people who are corrupt and they are leaders.
And it does not have to be government alone.
No. We are not talking about government now. We are talking about
and corruption is not just about money also.
It's not about money. It is about the instruction you can even give.
Everything you see and you are not willing to put your own or play your own part is corruption.
Of course.
It's corruption.
And it has eaten the educational sector so bad, and we have been talking about how the government can come and fund the educational sector. You can hear what the prof said.
Yes.
Okay, if the third fund gave the money, how are we sure that it got to the right people? Most times it's not giving the money, but the money is getting to the right people, and then the money is actually being used for the right things.
Okay,
because there are a lot of times that when the money comes, immediately the mind changes because we are corrupt.
You said the right people. The right people now. Who are the right people?
The right people that are supposed to be the one managing.
But there should be someone somewhere who is going to be at the ends of affairs there. For me, I believe that the right people start with the ASO president, ASO this, ASO that.
Those are the right people.
They are the right people. The right people are getting the money, but they are mismanaging the funds. We just have to. We have to just believe or take this thing to action that when we want to vote in or appoint people, we should be very, very particular about what they have done in time past, what they are willing to do. There should be very close scrutiny
Experience
of these
matters.
people, because at the end of the day, they are the right people, but they are, using their power, their supposed power, to, ruin things. Because a whole lot, I just don't want to mention some things on air. When you read stories of mismanagement of funds, diversion of funds, and dragging of the this, dragging of the that, come explain how you spent this money. It all boils back, to a kind of non-accountability from these people. When they are not accountable, things get bad. Okay, the lecturer can't meet with the federal government. No, the let me say the non-academic staff can't also meet with the federal government. So the same right people that the government sees, the government relates with, interacts with, are still those people at the ends of affairs mismanaging the funds.
Of course, they are the right people, not forgetting that, there are branches.
Hierarchy,
also.
yes.
There are hierarchies.
Yes.
And sometimes meeting the right people, of course, you can, the board chairman is there and every other person, the ASU president is there. But as it goes, how sure are we that, till the end of the product, it was, being managed well? That is what we are saying. And at the end, is it getting to the very right person? Now, talking about, when you say the federal government is bringing out, maybe there's going to be scholarship for people, because, poor people have been saying it. We need our children to go to school. The federal government should make it more easier for us, to send our children to school. In fact, some people are advocating for free education, in tertiary institution. I don't know how possible that is going to be with time. But if we say we want free education and the federal government comes out to say, okay, we are giving free education to people, and, there are necessary documents and all those things that are supposed to happen, giving funds for them to be able to make these things happen. The right people are the people who are supposed to get from the who are supposed to.
But the federal government will never meet with that person from the grassroots.
That is what I am saying. If the federal government is not meeting with the person grassroots, but the people up are the ones giving the funds. Now, how are we sure the person that is on the ground
that's
is
still
going to get what he's supposed to get? It still
brings us back to the fact that federal government sees these ones they see every day as the right people. They see them as the spokesperson for an average Nigerian. Someone who has no power, who has no authority, no privilege whatsoever. And, at the end of the day, these ones that they see as the right people are the ones mismanaging the fund or not letting it get to the grassroots. So it still boils down to, see, Nigeria, there is nothing like right people, wrong people. That's my own, that's my kind of interpretation for the right and wrong people in Nigeria. I don't see anyone as right or wrong. Everyone remains equal. But to the federal government, the right ones are the ones they see, they relate with every day. So the ones at the grassroots will always look up to these ones for anything coming from the federal government. So if we don't have the good ones there, the good ones up there, so you shouldn't be expecting something at the grassroots.
Of course, and that is all we are talking about.
See, look at the issue of the federal government trying to give loans to students. See how people, the uproars, people talking about the policies as regards the students' loan, people saying it's not right, and some people are coming out to say, even when, okay, you need someone to sign for you, and you are an ordinary Nigerian, you don't have the notary signature, who do you go to? But someone who works with the government, someone who has the privileges, someone who is at least an average person in the society, still has an upper hand than the person from the grassroots who is willing to get the loan. I'm not trying to dispute the fact that the policy is a good one or something, but remember that there is someone who is going to be as the middleman, who is going to enjoy more than the person coming from the grassroots.
And that is what we are saying. Let it get to the right people.
The right that is your own definition. I have my own, and we are still seeing it from a different standpoint. I have my perception of the right person, and so does every Nigerian have their own different perception of what the right person is.
Of course, and in all what we are saying, let us work together as Nigerians to make our educational sector a better one. Education is all we want. Education is what we actually need. You can't survive it. You can't do without education. It is the main reason, why you communicate with people. We are of different backgrounds, different tribes, different beliefs, but education brings us together. So we really, really need to work together so that...
And that brings us to your points this morning. One of your points before the start of the program, that some students, let me use that word, students are not willing to get proper education. We made mention of Said and all of those things you get to learn from the camp, the acquisition and development of skill and all of those things. What if government is willing to give us all of these things? Are we willing as citizens to get that proper education? Are we going to be available? The availability of the students is also one thing of major
we
concern.
Nigerians, when we are being given this, we turn our focus to another thing again. We start complaining about different things. And we have said it, and what we are saying is, let's work together. It is not you asking. What are you asking for? Are you willing, when the thing comes,
receive?
Are you really willing to receive? Most times we ask for something, when it comes, we don't even identify with the thing, not even talk of accepting it. And what you don't know, you can't even accept because you don't even know it's there. So we really need to understand that education is something we all need. And if we want a better education for Nigeria, we all need to put our hands together. Talking about students now, we say we want the government to, to boost the sector. And we mentioned, just the way you said it before the program, and I mentioned how, even during the NYSC days, I have seen, you were talking about how this was not happening well, that was not happening well. And I made mention of what about those people who were there and not doing anything? Trust me, many of those people joined those clubs because they saw a fine girl.
Of course.
That was there. And another girl saw a fine boy that was in a, you understand? So it was just like that. I saw it. And that was why I said, if we keep saying they have not been doing it for us, what about people who are not even willing to change for themselves? So we really need to work, as one, even as we are making demands from the government. And this is all we'll be talking on this segment. We'll be going on a short break. And when we come back, we'll continue with the live discourse.
On Alive TV.
Taking a look at events in Nigeria. And now the news in detail.
Look at the number of people he has built.
He has the capacity. And today, a historical reoccurrence is taking place right here in Jos.
You need to be involved in the voting process. Your vote counts.
Government, in spite of its lean resources, is running a welfare program for the most vulnerable in our country. We've never had that before. Welcome back. Nigeria should be competing with countries like
I am Kanti Ada.
Alive News, keeping it fresh.
Welcome back, and now we'll go straight to our trending stories. President Bola Tinubu has directed the speedy implementation of tax reforms across all ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government. The president gave the directive on Tuesday when he received a 30-day report on quick wins at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. Special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Mr. Ajiringilali, said that the report was presented to him by the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Informing State House correspondents shortly after the meeting, Ngilali says the president directed his special advisor on policy coordination, Hadiza Usman, to liaise with the secretary to the government of the Federation and the chairman of the Tax Policy Reform Committee to ensure that the recommendations of the committee are swiftly and immediately implemented across all ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government. In the same line, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has directed all publicly and privately owned businesses in Abuja to henceforth demand the tax certificate clearance of all Abuja residents before providing them with their services, a directive that implies persons without the document should not be eligible for any kind of service. Affected services include a vehicle registration, application of trade license, registration as a contractor, plot of land, allocation of stores, application of business name or corporate affairs commission application for building plans, etc. Now the question is, the question people ask there is, with the whole situation and the hardship in Nigeria, Mariam, is this coming at the right time? Of course, we know this policy is a very, very good one. It will help us coordinate and it will help us generate, income for the betterment of this country. But a lot of people have been complaining about how, the things are hard, and getting square meals in a day, 3 square meals in a day is a problem. 2 square meals, in fact, some people are living with hunger, but just because they want their businesses to keep striving, they are, working hard towards their businesses. And now, this policy is coming out to say everybody has to be paying taxes. Of course, we know it is a good thing, but the thing is it really the right time for this policy to take effect?
Okay, like a normal Nigerian that I am, I feel we expect good things. We want Nigeria to be better, and we want to appreciate the present administration.
Of course.
So what do you do as an individual, while trying to receive the goods, the goodies from this present administration? You have to also pay your tax, because no matter what, without that, the country cannot survive. Survive in the sense that they need this tax to put some things in place, especially the infrastructure. We are talking about bad roads. We are talking about, the poor facilities in our general hospitals. We are talking about no lights, no employment, no everything. I just included employment though, but we need some things. We need the money generated from the revenue, the money that you are willing to give, not the one that they will forcefully collect from you. You can't tell me that when you get these profits from your various businesses, as a religious country that we live in, you pay your tithes. Why not pay your tax? At least they started with the same T. At least just to make you laugh. Since you're paying your tithes, you need to pay your tax. You're paying your tax not because you want to enjoy this all by yourself. Your children have so many things to enjoy. The old people in our society, I feel the tax is still not enough, and that's why the Nigerian government is still not looking into that, because I love to remind them of the fact that we have old people in our society, like the developed country does. They pay old people people that retire, that have retired, people that's octogenarians and all of those things, at least if you don't pay, these things will not be in place. But the thing again is that when I am paying as an individual, is the person in government paying tax also? That's a very big question. And I think maybe we'll get someone in government to come and answer that question.
Of course.
Because we really need to look into that. I think that is why we are seeing the nonchalancy from Nigerians, like, okay, I'm paying the tax. Are they paying the tax? They should at least show us evidence that they are paying their taxes. And also we have some companies that are registered in Nigeria and they are not paying taxes, but they are leveraging on the fact that they can thrive online. Is there a policy in place that manages the online and the offline community? You get such that taxes will be derived from the necessary people that should be paying. I'm not talking about people selling cups and all of those things. There are some businesses that thrive online. Businesses, real agencies that thrive online, and they are not paying their taxes. So you don't expect Nigeria to grow without that. And also, lastly, before I go on that, these people, the committees that they have, the members of the committees that have been put in place to monitor the reform of the taxes, are they doing their due diligence in terms of, directing or collecting these things and directing it to the efficiency of what it is meant to do? Because if they don't show us in the space of 1 month, let me not say it.
Accountability.
we just need 1 month for them to tell us that yes, they are working.
But the thing is, my opinion on this tax or tax issue is just the way you said. We are always talking about how we want to grow, but when the growth comes, we don't really understand that this is growth.
Yes.
And we keep complaining. You mentioned something about let it not be forceful. Most times Nigerians see things as if they have been forced to do it, but that is the right thing to do. That is your due diligence. That is what you're supposed to do as a Nigerian. You pay tax. We have seen how we Nigerians are appreciating other countries that are doing well. We're saying, look at the way they are living, they're doing. But if they tell you quarter of what they are doing, can you do it? Can you implement
these
it?
people
can you make it work in Nigeria?
Working to various tax agencies to calculate what their tax payment should be. When I get to hear some people that I know say that I walk in, but when they come back to this same Nigeria, they are not willing to pay their tax, and they have businesses. That's why I said businesses that thrive online. I know of some that they will tell you they are outside Nigeria and they are eating from the good of Nigeria. And they are willingly paying their taxes to the United States government, the UK, and all of those things. But what is wrong with you being willing to pay in your own country to actually establish growth and development in this country?
Well, another thing again, except if you don't want to establish the business in Nigeria, because you have to register your company, whatever, even if it's an online company, you have to register your company. And from that, all the taxation is going to be removed.
I think, some time ago, sorry for cutting you short. Some time ago, the CAC said something about people registering their business names, and ensuring that they come after annually to give a kind of submit a mini report, how much they have made, and whatever they have, gotten from that business, even if it's not monetary, but the nonchalance, let me use that word, the nonchalance. And I think aside from from inaugurating the tax reform committee, there should be a particular committee that monitor things. You get monitor businesses that are already registered, because 3 years down the line, your business name is registered, your company is registered, you have still not given any report to our country. And it does not happen like that in other countries. And we keep applauding them there. We are not willing, to do things that will give us the same enjoyments that they are having over there.
Of course, and in other stories, the Special Offences and Domestic Violence Court in Lagos have sentenced the managing director of Optimal Cancer Care Foundation, Femi Olaliye, to life imprisonment for raping his wife's niece. The presiding judge, Rahman Oshodi, in a ruling on Tuesday, convicted Olaliye on a 2-count charge of defilement of a child and sexual assault by penetration. The judge ruled that the defendant should serve life imprisonment for count 1 and the same count and the same for count 2. However, the judge says the sentencing should run concurrently. The doctor was accused of sexually violating a minor who was said to be niece of his wife for over 20 months. Olaliye was then arraigned by the Lagos State government in November 2022 on a 2-count charge of defilement of a child and sexual assault by penetration. The medical doctor, however, pleaded not guilty to a 2-count charge during the trial. Aderemi, the estranged wife of Olaliye, had told the court that her husband introduced the underage victim to pornography and oral sex. Aderemi says that she and her husband have been married for 11 years and have 2 children. She expressed regret at how her husband was sexually abusing her niece and was unaware of the incident. Femi's wife told the court that her husband gives her medication every night with claims that it will avert blood clots because she was close to turning age 50. This last paragraph made me, how can you, so he had a motive. He wanted to achieve, he was always achieving that with that girl. And I think they said the girl was, going for that, they said the girl is 16 years now, or 16 years in 2022 when the thing happened. And pornography is one thing we are praying, for the young people to stay away from. The high rate of pornography or the high rate of, the young people patronizing pornography is at alarming rate. And not talk of an older person telling a young person to enjoy that and teaching that person some things, that the person cannot, you can't even imagine. And the wife said it, that her husband had, he's still alive actually since he's in prison, that he has sex addiction or something. He's a sex maniac or something. Yes. So that was the reason why he was always wanting sex. And I'm very sure for his wife, it was his wife that actually reported him. And, she gave evidence all through. He denied it, but she gave evidence of everything. And also, I think he was tested too. That was when they confirmed it, that he was high, in sexual urge and all that. Let me not use, he has a perverted mind, but that is it, because you can't be teaching a young child. And sometimes when I think of all these things happening and the rate, and I saw a news of an old woman, and the rape these days is really nothing. Young people go into drinking some or taking in some kind of substances into their system, and in fact, the next thing they just want to, whoever they see around them. There was a story in 2019 of an old lady that was killed here in Lagos. She was asking for direction on 1st of January, I think 2019. She was asking for direction from a guy. He now told her, okay, no problem. I think back to her residence. She was 78. So probably, her sense of direction is really maybe fading away. So she was asking him to direct her back to her home. And that was how the guy boarded a taxi or something. When they got somewhere, he told her to drop. They came down. He took her to an uncompleted building and he penetrated the old lady. And the old lady was there crying. 2 ladies came and they saw what happened. At the end of it, they called the police, but before they took the woman to the hospital, she was already dead. An old woman like that. So I just wonder what really comes over people. We've been talking about rape these days, and I'm feeling, I saw someone, Wike's wife, who is a judge in Rivers State, Eberichi, she said she feels like and whenever people are being caught doing this act, they should be their private part should be amputated, their private part should be cut off because there's no need.
I think I support castration.
She said the imprisonment or the 14 years she said the lifetime imprisonment or the 14 years imprisonment is not enough. Before he goes for the lifetime imprisonment, his private part should be cut off. And to be honest, I just feel like it's a good justice so that other people will see it and that will serve them as a lesson.
Of course, yes. You know, this is what from my own view, I feel, let's look at the victim, the aftermath of sexual assault on anybody. The emotional pain, the physical pain, you know, they live in, most of them at the long run, you know, live in seclusion. They are not willing to do anything. They are unnecessarily angry. They are sad. You know, their emotions is being drained, and at every point they just want to stay depressed. Now, the person who actually caused this thing, you are giving him or her 14 years. 14 years is just a number. On calculating that, some people will say 9 months for 1 year. It's not even 12 months. Let's say at the end of the day, he has 12 years or 11 years plus to be in prison, while somebody will be in 30 years pain. I'm just using 30 years old. That is if he or she eventually gets, you know, counseled by somebody who is very, very good. Very, very good counselor. I'm not talking about some counselors that will say we are a foundation, we are this, we are that. They don't really achieve the aim. And that is why you get to see some people live in absolute dejection. So now, this man who has raped somebody, he is a doctor, a prominent person in the society. What is the evidence that this man that I am seeing on the screen now will be in that prison to serve his 2-year double life imprisonment jail term? What is the assurance? The Nigerian government needs to step in. They have to assure us. There has to be a monitoring team in place. At the end of every week, they should go and check him there. Is it there at the correctional center? Or is it just going to be pronounced as, you know, a convict, and at the end of the day, he won't be serving his jail term? Are they assuring us that this man will, you know, receive what is meant to receive as been, because now the court has certified him as a criminal, because that is a criminal offense. And number two is that some people are saying the man's wife was wrong, you know, bringing this case to court. Can't they settle out of court because of marriage, because of the children, because of that? Someone who has done it to his wife's niece and is in fact a nymph, someone who has a high libido, somebody who is willing to penetrate anyone at any point in time. The children are not safe. And that is why you need to test people around you with little things. That is why you need to run your check at every point in time. And let me tell you, see, sometimes it seems like some points I make are too harsh, but there is nothing like you can change anybody. The willingness has to be from them. They cannot change unless they are willing to drop that bad attitude. Because if you say this person is going to change in 2 years, don't worry, let me stay with him, let me stay with her, she will change, she will change, she will change. At the end of the day, they cost you nothing but doom and pain.
And it's very possible that, you know, that was not the first thing that he has done for his wife. If you ask
their helps in the house, house help, the vulnerable ones in the house, they will have their own story to tell. But of course, you know, nobody will listen to them when they give their own story.
To other stories, no fewer than 150 AK-47 rifles, about 3,000 live ammunition, explosives, a rocket launcher, and an anti-aircraft rifle were recovered from the house of a suspected member of Boko Haram during a gun battle with security operatives in Minna, the Niger State capital. There was unrest on Tuesday at Minna after the suspected noticed the arrival of security operatives through the CCTV cameras installed in his house and began firing at them. Security operatives were said to have launched an operation at the Gebganu area of Minna, where the suspect's house is located. The tourist, who has been on the watch list of security operatives, bought the house and moved in 2 years ago, and a visit to the scene shows how the doors, walls and windows were pierced with bullets, while the severity of gun battle brought down part of the 2-bedroom flat. Residents say the operation, which started around 12 a.m., lasted for hours as the suspect engaged security operatives in a fierce gun duel before he eventually escaped. The suspect was reported to have used a rocket launcher to bring down part of the fence of his house, through which he escaped, but security operatives reportedly arrested his wife and children. A night watchman from the neighboring house, Mubarak Abubakar, was reportedly hit by a stray bullet and is receiving treatment at the emergency unit of the IBB Specialist Hospital, Minna. And now, what I'm asking is, with all these things that are in the house, will the woman, will his wife, say she doesn't know that this man is a terrorist, he's a notorious person? Or why do people just want to risk themselves, their lives, their families for things like this? She was caught in the house with her children also.
That brings us back to the fact that we live in a society, a kind of patriarchal society, a society that celebrates one, the man; number 2, respect the man; number 3, respect the man; number 4, respect the man; number 5, respect the man. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, respect the man. Okay? And we live in a society whereby everything has to be family, family, family. Whether it's going right, whether it's going wrong, whether the wife is right, the husband is wrong, you just have to stay together. Why not expose him? Yes, she won't expose the man. Okay, let's look at where are they living in. They stay in the northern part of the country that celebrates staying together. I'm sorry to say that. If you are a woman and you just leave your husband, I remember the story of the young lady that ran back home, that trended last week. She ran back home because of the unwillingness from her to stay in the marriage. She said she wanted to go back to school. But do you know what the family did to her? They took her back. They beat the hell out of her and they recorded her while beating her, just to serve as an evidence to the man that the family supports the man and not the woman. So the woman might be fearing for her life. That what if I tell people that my husband is this? Will they applaud me for saying this? Will they frown, their faces at me? Or will it be a case of do the judgment for her yourself? There are some people like that, that they will say, we have given her to you, whether dead or alive. So let's not blame the woman. And number 2 is that let's also blame the woman. Blame the woman in the sense that you're staying with a criminal, you're seeing all these arms and ammunitions in your house, and you're not willing to talk about it. You're not willing to let a security operative know about it. Are you not a terrorist? A terrorist will always be with a terrorist. A thief will always be with a thief. There's nothing like, he does this shady business and I don't know about it. The fact that I know about it shows that I have my involvement in that business. So both the husband, the wife, the children should be arrested.
Of course, but you mentioned something. It's sometimes these women, it is possible that
vulnerable,
after they are vulnerable, and after getting to know, so you know how relationships sometimes can be.
Yes,
someone will just sweetly,
talk you
into doing something. At the end of it, you get to know that this person is not actually who he or she claimed to be from beginning, and you have entered it. You are in the trap already, and you can't go out. Some of them will threaten you straightforward. They will threaten you that you can't say this to anyone. If you say it, you're going to be dead. Yes, some women live in that fear. That is understandable.
And but that our security system is not really balanced is one thing, because sometimes you can actually do this talking without having to to say it openly.
Knowing how dangerous your husband is and how, the threats are coming. Some of this, and let me tell you, sometimes these people don't marry intelligent people. They don't marry smart women.
Yes.
They marry women they can manipulate. So at the end of it, they are wiser and smarter than that woman. Whatever she is trying to do, she knows already that he's 10 times ahead of her. That is her fear. Some of them, I'm not saying all of them, and some of them know exactly what they are doing. There is, I don't know how true it is, but there was, I know about a girl who was always, trying to run off once in a while. And sometimes, I don't know where she is now, back in school. We were hearing, we don't know how true it was, that she was going out with someone who was dangerous. If you were going out with someone who was dangerous and you know it, why are you with the person? Sometimes you will see her running off, you'll be wondering what is happening. The next day you get to hear that, the police came to the house looking for so person. And I'm like, what happened? They will say, I think she's involved with the person. So whenever they look for him, they don't see him, they go straight to her. And if this thing is happening, or maybe it happened once, why are you still there? So sometimes you can't just say they don't know. Sometimes they hide in the fact that some women don't know.
That's just it. They hide under that fact that some people don't know. And also, I think security again is still not balanced enough, because there is no how that man who is a terrorist wouldn't have made some funny moves, but because the capability of our men is not that much. We really don't have the intelligence operatives. We just call them securities. How about the ones that are major in intelligence? Like the CIDs, the FCIDs, and all of those things. When we have people like that, at least they monitor criminals. They know where they stay. Like somebody would say that if only the police are willing to nab criminals, then you will know that they can work. And they have all the required resources to, carry out their operation. But if the unwillingness is from their end, that they are not ready to apprehend this person, you will see them give filthy excuses. So it still boils down to the security operatives.
Of course.
They know this man. Okay, why would someone fire, shots at them, when he already see them coming? He saw them, and he was like, oh, these people are coming to, apprehend me. Quickly, he opened fire. And the ones coming also knows that he has got ammunitions. So what are we saying? They already are prepared for this man.
Yes.
And they know also inclusively that his family are aware of it. And we will have some people that are not even a member of his family, maybe his boys or members of his gangs, and you are telling me the security operatives in that axis does not know that they have criminals. They are harboring criminals.
I think they know they have criminals, and that is why they came for that man. And sometimes, to be honest, I don't know if this is the time that let me say personally, is more interested in how our security system works now, because I can see how really our security operatives are up and about these days. We have heard about how they have seized or recovered rifles.
That's because we have rise on the intelligence now, unlike before. Some people are particular about their arms and ammunition. Why not talk about the intelligence, the codings? People open people's doors with codings from the computer. There are things that they have trackers, they have pen trackers, phone trackers, all of those things, trackers that they put in art. And thank God the movie industry are now opening the eyes of our, let me say, they're helping everybody to know that there are some things that you can use to nab anybody here on earth. There are some movies that have really shown that yes, the technology have really gone ahead. It has gone far. It can even open your eye to what is under the ground.
When the officers were coming and he fired.
That was why I said it's not about being smart or not on the side of the woman. She can do things technically, diplomatically, diligently, that she will just, there are cameras. That, okay, I want to get myself out of this situation. The fact remains that people don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. When you continue to stay with such a person, eventually you will die.
You know, it's in North, and most women around that, especially in Mina, I think most of them are, you know,
The northern
Matan
part.
Kule. I don't know if you know, Matan Kule is like they don't go out. Most of these women don't go out. They are just being, you know, the men will marry them, put them in the house. Before you go out, you cover your face, cover yourself. You just go to the market, get something and come back. In fact, some of them don't even go out. They don't go anywhere. It's just for them to be in the house, produce. And the husband can actually go out to get them. And one thing I know, you know, that is common with their men is that they always want to do everything for their wives. So go to the market, go do those things, bring it back to the house, especially if the wife is not somebody who is allowed to go out. So sometimes you cannot really, because we don't really know the relationship or how, you know, they were operating in the house, but some of them are also like that. So, you know, giving faults or maybe trying to look out what
Yes, we
really
applaud the
happened,
security,
we also,
you know, operatives, but they should do more.
Of course,
in
they should
terms
do
of
more.
Intelligence, please.
Of course.
Intelligence is still what I would, you know, flog. That we need to do more on intelligence.
All right, let's go to the next story. And on the next story, the 10th Senate, led by Godswill Akpabio, on Tuesday justified the purchase of 360 sports utility vehicles for lawmakers. The decision of the lawmakers in the Red Chamber to purchase exotic cars has been widely condemned in the country. The chairman of the Committee on Senate Services, Sunday Karimi, during a press conference on Tuesday, however, stated that Nigerians are picking on lawmakers but ignoring ministers who have about 4 official vehicles. Karimi says, and I quote, "Somebody that is a minister has more than 3 Land Cruisers, Prado, and other vehicles, and you are not asking them questions. Why us? These vehicles that you see go to Nigerian roads today. If I go home once, my senatorial district, I come back spending a lot on my vehicles because our roads are bad. It is not the decision of the senators alone. We analyzed arriving at Land Cruisers. It was based on a comparative analysis of the cost of technical issues and durability on Nigerian roads. We want something that we can maintain for another 4 years, and the issue of buying vehicles from the National Assembly, you know, it is a recurrent issue. It occurs every assembly. It will always come up. Karami, who justified the high cost of the vehicles, says it was because the National Assembly owed the suppliers about 116 billion naira. Now, he said, you know, ministers have 4 different cars, and why are they questioning them because they want to get Land Cruisers? Of course, they have come. It is, you know, based on suggestions, analysis, and they got to that result that they are going to be having the Land Cruisers. They said they want cars that can fit Nigerian roads. We are talking about, what about people who cannot actually afford Land Cruisers?
My dear sister,
this is the government saying this.
You know, Karimi actually shot himself in the leg. Yes. The reason, because he recognized the fact that we have bad roads. We have bad roads. Mr. Karimi, Senator Karimi, we have bad roads, and you know that we have bad roads. What are you doing? That's, you know, what are you putting in place? What are you pushing forward to the federal government of Nigeria for your senatorial districts? What are you doing to ensure that people at this district enjoy government? Number 1 point, he knows, he recognized the fact. So now you want something that will help you or boost you or push you ahead. Number 1, no. Number 2, I want him to understand the fact that, or from my own perspective, the fact remains that Karimi was voted in. A minister was appointed. A minister could be anybody who has worked, made money from blah, 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 you know, and, you know, federal government feels that he's worthy of the appointment. Come and represent us. But we voted Karimi. And I'm just talking from the people's perspective. Karimi was voted. So there is nothing justifiable about the purchase of cars exotic cars and all of those things. So there is nothing absolutely. You were voted in, and you should serve your people, and it should be the willingness, not that you should keep clamoring for a car. Is it the car that you are there for? You're there for so many other things.
And you know, people have been saying it. All these things, it's not like people are saying they are not worth it. What people are saying is that at this present condition, with this present condition, people are going through a lot, and you're putting it in their faces that we want to get a car. Now, to justify,
and he's even saying
to justify it, you're saying ministers have 4 cars. What have you said about them? So why are you questioning us? That is one thing. Okay, let's leave that part. You now, how can you come and say this is a justification for, you know, the buying of car, that Nigerian roads are bad? We Nigeria, if you say that,
you know, the fact that pushed me away from the whole story is that he recognized the fact that the roads are bad, and he's not even willing to speak for the people. I don't think I've heard anything about Karimi concerning his districts in the past 2 or 3 months. Nothing. Now he's coming out to talk about the purchase of cars. That means it's people, well.
Oh, well, you know, that is it. We are in Nigeria. All this.
It's not like I'm trying to support ministers, though. I'm not supporting them, but I feel that
the statement there is what we are tackling. The statement there. You know, we are, no matter what it is, this purchase of these cars have been there. In fact, somebody said that why can't they just buy this thing quietly, mostly? But this is a Nigerian affair. Of course, we all should know what is happening.
No, they shouldn't. They can't. It is not. It is not a good thing for them to dip in their hand into the purse of our country, into our treasure, without telling us what they are using our money for. Because we need accountability.
So
do you know if I even have a car? Okay, average Nigerian does not have a car. How many cars do you see on the road? Okay, people acquire their wealth from, you know, all different kinds of shady businesses, and you say we live in a country that people survives, you know, duly, people survives from their crafts. Are you saying that when a whole lot of people, approximately 133 million Nigerians, lives in multidimensional poverty, as said by UNESCO? So what I'm saying, so where is all these things coming from? So if you have to own a car, an official car, then you should tell us. Let us know. We voted you in. From the honorables, from the governors, even the governor, he has to tell us some things. But because he has a kind of, you know, immunity, but that does not stop the senator telling us that they want to buy the cars. 57. Yeah, that money is much.
Miriam is saying that money is much. Really many of us are saying that money is much. But, you know, we are not saying you're not worth it. You are worth it. But with the situation in the country, so many people are frowning at the fact that some people are actually living a good life, and while others are suffering. But at the end, you know, what is going to happen is going to happen. This is Nigeria, and we wish everyone the best. Before we go on the program, Miriam, what do you have to say? Your last word.
I have to say that you should just make every day your masterpiece. You don't know when the good is going to come your way. You don't know when what you have been praying for will eventually, you know, come your way. Always be prepared to attract success and work towards receiving it at every point and any point in time. My name is Miriam. See you on Friday.
Of course, you have said it, and we leave you in the hands of Alive Television. Make sure you keep watching Alive Television.
Yes, watch it.
Go to our social media platforms at Alive Television and like and also subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep watching Alive Television. We'll see you by 1 on the news update. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.